Hi, let's talk about AI test case writing tools. Recently, I attended a demo for AI test case writing tool. I'm not going to give the name, but just going to give my opinion about what I think about these tools in general. I haven't, looked at a lot of tools. I looked at a few on YouTube. So this particular tool, it worked in two ways. Number one, it's a plugin into your browser. Once you plug it in, it will, mimic, it will, capture all the steps that the user is doing, just like a record and play tool, but except in English, and it will transcribe everything like that, like action to text instead of speech to text kind of a way. It was pretty cool, and it was able to capture everything that the user did. It was actually producing pretty long steps. It did up to some 10 sentences for a few minutes of recording. It was pretty accurate. It accurately documented the user's actions, the pages that they navigated to, what text boxes that they used, what buttons they clicked on, and such. It looked like 99% of the test cases written by other humans I worked with. So the tool was doing a good job of gathering all the test cases out there in the world and in the tutorials and such, and learn to write test cases. I give a shout out to the tool and its creators for that. But is this a good test case? Let's look at, I don't have the exact steps of when I reviewed the demo. The demo. So I was able to find another tool from YouTube and how it generated the test cases. And this particular, plugin, it generated the test cases based on their requirement, acceptance criteria, something like that. So let's look at it. Title is Verify Guest User Profile Creation. So navigate to the cart page as a guest. Cart page is successfully loaded. Locate the option to create an account on the cart page. The option to create an account is visible and accessible. Click on the Create Account option. The account creation form is displayed. Submit the account creation form. Account is successfully created and the user is redirected to the next page. Pretty decent test case, pretty much what you find in most cases out there. Most cases, 99% of the cases. So it's a pretty decent test case. But can humans make this test case better? In this particular scenario. So it looks like there is a guest who from the cart page is able to create a profile. So let's see if we can do gooder than the AI tool. I think we can. So let's see. Let's start with, it needs to go to the cart page. So let's start with go to the application in test URL path, to the URL path /cart. That's an easy to understand step, better than navigate to cart page. How do I navigate it? Where am I starting it? You don't know that. So now expected result. The AI says cart page is successfully loaded. How do you know it's successfully loaded? So let's look at human written test case. Page loads with document title, org name something, and cart. Header shows the icon cart. In the header, the profile name reads guest user, indicating that it is a guest profile. Like it so far? Let's continue. Look in the right side, and I'm improvising this. Look in the right side of the page in section Create User. Button Create User exists. Click button Create User. Page loads with document title, org name, create account, URL path, guest/create account something. I'm making it up. The following elements exist on the page. Because you're creating an account, the minimum you need is username, password. So fields, username and password, and buttons, sign up. Now, this next step is very, very crucial. This is something I do definitely in my test cases. I have not seen anybody else do it. I hope you like doing this or learn something from it. Make up an email or user ID and password and note it down in a notepad. Execute a SQL with the email ID using select * from users where username equals, whatever you made up. If there is no record of this email or user ID, go ahead and use it. If there is a record, there's already a record, so it's going to fail. So you want to avoid that step. So I definitely put things like this in place so that the person who's executing the test cases understands that, hey, if it's already used, it's a no-brainer. You cannot use it, but they are doing that extra step so that they can, not have to go through like, I created this and I can't go more forward. No, they need to be focused on testing this piece of software when they're executing this test case. You have to give them the whole tunnel vision. So the next step is type in field username, something user email, type in field password, one capital, one lowercase, one number, one symbol, minimum is like 8 to 12 count, something, and click button signing. Now, I'm not doing any field validations or anything here because I am assuming this page is using a component of the login, which was already thoroughly tested in another test case or like in another page. If not, yes, you do need to test this piece of software all over again, like field validations and everything. Again, those need to be separated into separate test cases. We will get into those details later, but like in real life, if the organization is not using a component of the original login page, talk to them about it. And quite honestly, I would say just redirect the user to the login page so that you don't have to deal with two pages having the login component being used. But you don't know what the reason is. Sometimes you do need to, but if you need to, component it, test the component level, and then it becomes a lot easier. Less code, less bugs. And also less testing. So anyway, let's continue. So now after you put in the email and the password and click button sign up, yes, I write my test cases very, very clear, like I'm talking to a kindergartner, because again, tunnel vision. So the expected result is lands on profile page or success message appears, account successfully created, verify email to confirm account, something like that. These days, those things are pretty common. After this step, if you have access to the table for the GUIDs where, the account is created and the GUIDs are being saved, my next step would be go to your URL applicationintest.com !verify URL /GUID ID, and the page loads with the message log in to view your account or successfully created your account, something like that. So put that step in there. Or if again, as we discussed, if it's not easy to get to the GUID, you will need to definitely go ahead and do a verification on an email. So in this particular cases, I typically create a generic email with the Gmail account, so that I can use the plus feature in the Gmail and I can create 1 million accounts and all of them go to just one email and I can verify them and live happily ever after. So I provide the credentials for that particular email and ask them to hey, in a different browser, bring up this Gmail, log into this account, be ready to verify the account. And then, search with your user ID plus your user ID, and the body of the email and the expected result will the body of the email looks like this template, text template or image attached, and with the link of verify account. Now, sometimes you can just directly click the link and verify the account and everything is done. But sometimes what happens is the email always goes to creates a link with the production environment. It's not I mean, this account won't exist in production for sure, but it creates a link with the production account. No matter how many number of times you click on it, it's not going to create the account. So what do you do in those cases? You right click on that button, you capture the URL, you put it down in a notepad, and then you take away the prod base URL, and then you put in the lower base URL, and that's how you verify your account. So you put that information also in the test case. Now, again, if you have full control over the grids table and lower environments and everything, you can, to reuse the same data over and over, you can do CRUD testing where you're creating with the same kind of account so that you don't have to use your brain cells for too many things. And at the end of the test case creation, you're also deleting this new record of the user. Like go to the users table, delete his record, go to the grids table, delete that record. It's clean. And you can start over again. So this step also may be included. So that's how you write a test case. And yes, majority of the test cases out there in this world, they're all about going from one page to another, page to another, page to another, page to another. But here's the thing. In this particular test case, you're going from like cart page to create account page. I mean, it's a guest/create account page, but this test case should actually start on guest/create account page. It should not start on the cart page. Cart page to guest create account page is a test case in itself, navigational test case. That's a separate one. If something breaks over there, only that breaks, not the account creation breaks. Okay, so you need to understand how to compartmentalize your test cases so that you're testing one thing at a time. And how would you know that? We need to talk about the title. Majority of the titles I see, they take away a lot of real estate with generic terms like verify user can do this. That sounds like a, user story. No. Tie down your test case naming to the product. For example, the cart page to user, the cart page test case would be like just like org name, guest user. I don't know if even guest user is suitable. I need to know the product a little bit more. Cart page, that's it. Oh, maybe I can do guest page in a parenthesis or something, but like org name, cart page. And another test case would be org name, guest user, create account. Okay, and this way you can also see like how many pages have been covered, how many components of this application has been covered just with the smart naming. And like I said, the AI takes all its data from out in this world. And a while ago I was talking to this one developer. He's like a genius magician person. His code is so beautiful. I once tried to marry his code. He's gay, so it's fine. He was like, they're believing in AI, Shrilu. And I was like, Carmine, but 80% of the data out there is crap. And he was like, no, Shrilu, 100% of the data is crap. So yeah, you get what you feed, I guess. So writing a test case is not to follow the requirements. Software has certain basic features to it. When you're testing it, if those features are not reflected, you have to demand them, number one. You have to improve the quality of the application. If you're just going after like, I'm checking the user case, I'm checking the acceptance criteria, I'm checking the acceptance criteria. You're an acceptance criteria checker. It's nothing wrong with that, but you're not a tester. And those are not test cases. Those are acceptance criteria checking cases. I don't know. Even my own test cases, once I write them, I call them check cases because like when I'm testing them, there's no notes, there's no nothing. I'm going in there to understand how does it work, because testing is always about how does it work. Once I document it, I'm not testing it anymore. I'm checking it to see this is exactly how it functions. And not just that, when I execute this test case, I should know where it broke and I should be able to report back like, hey, it broke here. Fix it, dude. So, or dudess. So that's how it should be. So let me know your opinions. How do you write your check cases? Test cases. Would you base it on the product or the requirement? Thank you.